My name is Maggie Puckett. I am part of the collaborative Seeds InService. We call ourselves a papermaking institute. We grow plants each year curated around feminist and ecological themes. And we experiment with those plants to see what kind of paper they make. And then we use that paper to make different artworks.
My name is Melissa Potter. I'm a feminist interdisciplinary artist, writer, and curator who's dedicated a career to amplifying the stories of women which tend to be marginalized throughout history. I tend to focus on craft culture because I think of them as distinct oral histories and craft languages that are passed down through the generations.
So we created kind of a collection of all the work we've done for the past 5 years, and we had started thinking about this idea of what is a feminist seed bank, especially knowing about the seed vault for many years and different seed libraries and the seed library movement. What we didn't see were ones that were curated around women's issues, and as feminists we thought that was very important. And so we started a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet with all the plants that we had done research on, and we keep adding to it every year and learning about how they've been used by women. And then we compiled that all into a large book, a 152-page book of everything we've done over the past 5 years or so, to share that information with everybody, and a little bit about the plants, kind of where they've come from historically around the world, how they've been used, and by who was using them. All plants have cellulose matter, but they won't necessarily all make the greatest paper. Some might be kind of weak, but we do have like that diversity of different types of papers. And we also try things like, why not a potato plant? Can that be turned into paper? It actually makes really great paper. And same with tomato. And so there's nothing we won't try. And so then also for this project, we wanted to make a literal seed library. And so I made an accordion folded book that's kind of in the shape of the seed vault. Inside of that book then are seed packets, and they're all handmade seed packets, and they're filled with seeds that we've saved in our gardens over the years that were really special to us. Paper making is such an amazing craft. It's a lot of labor, a lot of hand labor. So that's why Melissa and I like to collaborate. It really shares that sort of labor. And we also believe that two brains are more than just two brains. You kind of get like 10 brains, and you can really play ideas off of each other and get much more done than you can do in a solo practice. And we're really interested in process over product, and is that process sustainable? People talk about living their lives sustainably, but artists don't always talk about art practices being sustainable.
In the process of hand paper making, we have a critical engagement with plants from start to finish. We forage them. In some cases, we grow them. We forage them. We collect them from composts. We recycle them. And then we macerate them, we cook them, we beat them, we pull them, we dry them, we treat them with natural materials. So at every single moment in the process of paper, we are critically engaging with the plant itself and all of the things that the plant has to teach us about its power and its abilities. One of the things that I've been really humbled by is that plants don't kid around. Plants have their own lives and their own ideas, and perhaps the most interesting thing to me about paper making is that I can never master it. It is always doing its own thing. It is subject to so many different influences from the environment, from the place where it's reaped from shipment, from work in the studio. Every single time is a different conversation with material, and I find this to be completely compelling in terms of a making process.
Plants are therapeutic. Gardening is transcendent. Getting your hands in the soil, literally soil bacteria can release dopamine in your brain, and it makes you happier. So it's medicinal on its own. And crafting is also like that, repetitive motions. It really does create a transcendent state, and you're taken out of the hardships of systematized labor. You get to see the process literally from seed to every day taking care of those plants, walking through the garden, learning more about how the plants work with each other and work with insects. and other pollinators, how they work with the birds and humans too, watching them walk through our gardens and be charmed by that, especially in a city where there's so little green space. Plants are kind of like a salve, like a balm to our souls.
When I received a grant from Columbia College to take my colleague Maggie Puckett and me to Seed Savers Exchange in Decorah, Iowa, which is one of our great heirloom seed banks here in the United States, I noticed in their database that they were collecting not just the story of the seed and where it came from, but also the people who stewarded those seeds and in many cases brought them with them on their trips to the United States. Of course, this is a symbiotic relationship. The seeds develop and change over time when humans and seeds interact with one another. And so I started at that moment to really understand the ethnography of seeds. My whole career has been in collaboration with ethnographers and anthropologists, animating different stories of traditional practices, primarily by women. And this seed bank, the Seed Savers Bank, really taught me that within that beautiful kernel, that seed, which is often described as a baby in a box with lunch, is a fully contained microsystem, ecological system that carries its own stories and its own histories and its own ideas. And I found this to be one of the most compelling aspects of the current body of work that I'm doing.